What's up, sons and daughters of the Most High God? Welcome back to Mana Podcast. So good to have you guys tuning in lagi. Waktu kalian lagi di gym, whether you're in the gym, whether you're driving home, whether you're on a tram, I hope hari ini apapun yang kita bahas bisa menjadi your daily bread. Hari ini aku nggak sendirian, aku ditemani oleh soon to be husband and wife. Woo! They got engaged earlier this year, if I'm mistaken.
Technically last year.
Technically last year.
Officially January.
Officially January, yeah. But let me introduce these people, this lovely couple. Ada Sunny dan ada Isaac. Now, I see that Sunny dan Isaac, coba introduce yourself, what you guys do. How long have you guys been in a relationship for? All those good stuff.
Oke, jadi nama aku Sunny.
Joko selalu gitu ya Sunny.
Aku saat ini kerja sebagai medical scientist di satu rumah sakit yang jauh di sana. Aku engage sama Isaac sejak tahun lalu, tapi officially-nya Januari. Kalau pacarannya udah dari kapan ya? Udah dari
Oh no.
Kapan ya? Udah dari setahun, Januari 2023.
Dari 2023. Isaac.
Aku buat yang belum kenal, aku Isaac. For context of the podcast juga, aku happen to be PK. Aku nggak sebut nama papaku. Aku
Nama belakang kamu apa kok gitu? Isaac.
Nama belakangku beda sama papaku.
Bener juga sih, bener juga ya.
Iya. Anak tahun 96. Relatable. Aku dokter, kerja di rumah sakit yang sama seperti Sunny, nun jauh di sana, juga tidak disebut. And I have to add a disclaimer in English. My views here are totally my own and personal views. They're not professional views. It's not medical advice. Unaffiliated with the hospital that I work at, which I won't even mention.
Harus cover dia punya basic.
Harus cover dulu.
Soalnya kalau dia nggak disu, biar nggak dipecat dia basically.
Aku rasa aku nggak akan dipecat sih.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Yeah. Mereka juga nggak akan ngerti sih kita ngomongin apa hari ini.
Iya.
Seharusnya.
Nah, kita pakai bahasa Indonesia aja nggak apa-apa.
Oke, siap. Susah sih, karena iya susah. Kalau mau explain secara clear harus pakai bahasa Inggris kalau aku. So you guys both are in a very interesting industry, medical, right?
Yep.
So dulu salah satu TV show favoritku ada Grey's Anatomy. I don't know why I brought that up, but
Mine too.
right, Grey's
Yeah.
Anatomy, right? Tapi itu TV series kebanyakan dramanya dibandingkan medicalnya menurutku.
Bener sih.
However, there are certain cases di mana, and I'm sure you see this every now and then di your field. I'm always wondering how, as believers in Jesus Christ, as followers of Christ, how do you hold the tension of, kamu punya profession, and you see all these people yang sakit, cancer lah, atau kayak di step lah, because I saw in one of your stories ada orang yang di step lah,
Yeah.
People are being raped, people are being killed. Kayak how do you hold that tension, being a believer in Christ, and you see these horrible things that are happening to people?
Jadi sebenarnya pas aku diajak podcast, this topic was inspired by, actually I'm working at the chemo unit now, cancer unit.
Wow, okay.
Jadi I'll ask Koden, ingat nggak 8th August? What were you doing that day?
8th of August, jeez.
Do you even remember the day of the week? Karena aku ingat.
No, I don't.
Well, I can guess that hopefully you were working
Okay.
in hours.
Yeah.
Hopefully ya lagi kerja di kantor gitu ya. Same for me. Totally normal day, just another Thursday.
Yeah.
Tapi for one of my patients ya, itu I actually told them over the phone, so it was very unideal. Tapi I had to make a call and say, actually, can you come to the hospital, to the emergency department right now? Karena we just got your blood test results back,
wow.
and you do have cancer, and we need to send you to Melbourne, to the city, karena rumah sakit kita jauh dan nggak ada all the specialties needed. Dan dia perlu treatment kayak ASAP straight away. Terus dia cuman throughout pas aku ketemu dia di ID, aku jemput dari pas waiting room dia nyampe, dia cuman the whole time sambil nunggu transport dia cuman why ya, which aku tahu dia kan, maksudnya I work her up, jadi I said well could be because you're smoking gitu. Blatantly speaking, honestly speaking, and medically speaking and professionally speaking, it's could be the smoking gitu. But you could also just be unlucky. It happens to non-smokers too gitu.
Yeah.
People just get cancer gitu.
Yeah.
Tapi so you know, when I say, you know, why do bad things happen to good people, I don't think we need to discuss the obvious. If you're speeding and you get into a car accident, you know, it's not, oh, why did this happen?
Yeah.
There's an obvious reason sometimes.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about that. I guess what you mean is, you know, there's so much suffering, and to good people gitu, that randomly happens. And you know, how do you stay true? It's a challenge. Jadi I preface this by saying, you know, you're at work. I was at work. Sometimes as health professionals, a lot of us lose our empathy. We get so used to it, actually, which is a bit sad. And so sometimes you see doctors who don't care about their patients. It's difficult for them too. Like they've just closed their hearts. There's callous.
Yeah,
It's scarred.
Yeah.
So it's not easy.
Yeah.
But you know, we try to have empathy still for us, both of us. She's a doctor too.
Iya. Kalau kamu Sani? Pakai mic.
Kalau kita ngomongin soal why do bad things happen to good people, kita harus define dulu good people apa.
Say that one more time.
Well, define good people.
Yeah.
What do you think is defined as good people?
Yeah.
Kita semua hidup di dunia yang udah jatuh dalam dosa. Bad things itu pasti ada. Dan mungkin ada yang nggak bisa dijelasin, tapi ada juga yang bisa dijelasin kayak you get cancer because you smoke. Nah itu bisa diprediksi. Tapi ada juga bad things yang kayak nggak bisa diprediksi gitu. Dan meaningnya mungkin kita berusaha cari meaning, tapi nggak ketemu gitu. Mungkin I tend to find comfort kalau aku bisa ngerti sesuatu terjadi karena apa. Karena aku termasuk biasanya cewek kan lebih ke arah pakai feeling gitu ya.
Masa sih?
Iya. Tapi Isaac pernah bilang, aku kadang tuh aku lebih ke arah logical.
Okay.
Aku find comfort kalau aku bisa ngerti kenapa sesuatu terjadi, terutama yang buruk gitu. Tapi mungkin pertanyaannya mungkin lebih kayak gini ya. Kadang tuh bad things happen aja gitu. Nggak perlu punya meaning kenapa. Tapi gimana cara kita handle itu biar dia punya meaning.
I see.
Gitu.
So are you saying that it is the story that you tell yourself that gives the meaning?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And okay.
Kayak pertanyaannya ya, okay, now this bad thing happened to me. Now what am I gonna do about it?
Yeah.
Biar dia punya meaning, biar setidaknya nggak meaningless gitu.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're gonna go through a full period, the pain better be profitable.
Yep.
Basically, right? So
Yep.
so yeah, kayak kalau udah go through the whole thing, terus kalau misalnya kita nggak learn the lesson segala, karena orang-orang biasa bilang kayak, pengalaman adalah guru terbaik. Nggak juga sih. Pengalaman yang sudah diserap dan sudah dipelajari, itu baru pengalaman yang baru guru yang
Betul.
terbaik, right?
Kayak kita udah menderita nih, might as well get something from it.
Yeah.
Gitu.
Yeah. I think you mentioned a very good topik tadi, di mana we have to define what is good. Right? We literally just talk about this kayak tadi di sermon ya, karena the rich young ruler ngomong datang ke Yesus, dia bilang good teacher, ya kan ya, what must I do to inherit the kingdom of God? Terus Tuhan Yesus bilang, what do you call me good? None is good but God, ya kan ya. I think the problem is a lot of people think that they are like this benchmark of good, ya kan ya. And menurut kamu kayak why do people say that kayak oh he's a good person, they're a good person, why did that happen to them?
Kalau dari sekali lagi kita mau define good person itu karena depends from the Christian standpoint. I believe or should be ya harusnya ya. Banyak orang Kristen tuh hopefully you know your basic theology that as a Christian semua orang Kristen aku harap sadar semua orang Kristen tuh dosa. And generally juga orang tuh dibawa ke gereja dalam keadaan dia tanda kutip tobat gitu kan yang kata yang kita pakai di kalangan Kristen, which is implying a realization that you are a sinner and you need Jesus. Makanya kamu jadi Kristen. That's typically how it goes. Tapi it's difficult as well for non-Christians, normal people. Kan aku, I'm not a murderer. I've never killed. I've never raped. I've never stolen. Why do you say, I'm not a good person gitu? Tanda kutip kan. Which is fair enough. Jadi aku bawa props hari ini. And please don't do this at home. Tapi let's say ini ntar nggak boleh diminum.
Kelihatan nggak dari kamera?
Nggak apa-apa, aku bisa naikin. Oke, katakan ini kehidupannya Koden lah.
Ya, jangan dong. Ya udah.
Harus Koden, moderator. Koden, aku isi air. Ini pakai air ya guys, off screen. Tapi percayalah ini air. Koden kalau satu tetes air itu one good deed from your life, kita isi kira-kira lah ya. And you tell me when to stop. How much good
stop!
Dikit banget.
Yeah, I'm not good enough.
Pendeta loh.
Aku insecure.
Bukan contoh yang baik. Ini jangan ditiru di rumah ya guys. Tapi ini bukan racun sih. Ini katakanlah satu tetes itu satu dosa Koden. Berapa banyak?
Matang loh. Udah gak bisa minum lagi tuh.
There you go. Ada yang mau minum?
Ada yang mau minum?
No. I don't want to drink that.
Ini bukan racun, ini cuman sabun itu apa namanya? Cleaner doang. Itu bukan cyanida, bukan obat-obatan keras, bukan apa, tapi kita aja udah nggak berani minum. Gitu loh. People don't realize kadang ya their justification. Aku do so many good deeds and I only do this one small thing, tapi it's mixed, it's too late. Udah kayak gitu loh. The fact of the matter is bahkan hal yang kecil gitu itu juga bisa ngerusak seluruh kehidupan kita tanda kutip. So the bar is perfection.
Exactly.
Sekali lagi kalau Kristen udah tahu ayatnya, all have fallen short of the glory of God. Ya, tapi explaining that to a non-Christian ya, aku biasanya gitu sih. Aku dengerin podcastnya Brian minggu lalu, aku relate banget sebagai PK yang dia bilang orang-orang ngejudge dia apa semua. Aku tuh biasa, aku pernah dijudge itu sama main game. Isak anak pendeta main game mulu kerjanya. Oh, kamu sendiri main game nggak? Loh, kan aku bukan anak pendeta. Aku tanya kan main game atau enggak, jawabannya ya atau enggak. Tapi dia ngejawabnya, kan aku bukan anak pendeta. Kamu anak siapa dong? Kalau gitu anak siapa? Anak-anak pendeta nggak boleh main game, tapi anak siapapun boleh main game gitu ya. Udah diem. So, when we define good person, you either have tiap orang punya standar sendiri, atau kita semua punya standar internasional.
Exactly.
Which is the same for everyone. Kebanyakan orang Christian or non-Christian kita seringnya ngerujuk ke laws. Yaitu hukum di negara, meskipun ada variasi beda-beda, tapi kan maksudnya membunuh tuh I believe is illegal in basically every single country. Rape is illegal, stealing is illegal. Maksudnya ada hal-hal yang misalnya legal gitu di tempat lain. Germany gitu nggak ada speed limit di tolnya, contoh. Tapi if we go by man-made laws, that's part of why we're doing this podcast. Di Indo viral kan waktu itu ibu-ibu metik buah dari pohon tetangga yang jatuh di halaman dia, penjara 3 tahun.
Seriusan?
Anak pejabat nyetirnya mabok-mabokan, nabrak orangnya meninggal, 1 week community service.
Wancur. So,
what is your standard if it's human standards for what is good and bad? Lihat aja nyeleweng gitu kok standarnya. And respon kalian yang benar adalah marah.
Yeah.
Orang sering marah tuh negatif.
No.
I don't believe so. I think anger is righteous.
Righteous
in-
anger, yes.
Righteous anger.
Yes.
Iya. Kayak Yesus pas dia
Iya.
balikin meja.
Iya, betul.
Table flip. Iya, itu righteous. Ya, ini juga righteous. Kalian dengar cerita kayak gitu kan?
Iya.
Iya, di Indo parah sih.
Hmm.
Ya di sini not so much but still happens
Hmm.
di Australia. So again, kita kalau mau define what's good, what's bad, aku rasa dari sisi manusia kita akan sangat struggle untuk menyamakan
Mhm.
semua orang 8 billion people of the earth untuk punya standar yang sama itu susah. Kita harus punya standar yang di luar manusia
Absolutely.
dan penerapannya juga, which also brings me to kita ngomong bad things happen to good people, maybe good things happen to bad people.
Iya.
One of the answers tuh ya nanti penyelesaiannya nanti. Ini juga pasienku baru Kamis lalu cancer kan, baru didiagnose juga, heavy smoker, udah ke liver, ke paru-paru,
Dia chain smoker.
chain smoker,
Kalian did you
bener.
guys not get that joke? Okay.
chain smoker.
Okay. So,
Dia ngerokoknya banyak banget lah. Kita bahkan belum diagnose formally karena kita mau biopsi nggak bisa, livernya udah rusak semua. Terus one morning dia deteriorate all of a sudden, blood testnya langsung kacau semua, dia udah drowsy gitu, udah kayak almost going. Kita udah telepon istrinya datang. Aku discuss what we call goals of care, where we want to lead the treatment, and she could not make the call. Soalnya aku harus jelasin kan, what do you want? Do you want us to keep going and treat, knowing that we might not succeed, or do you just want to let him go peacefully? Dan dia nggak bisa make that decision. Interestingly, dia happens to be Christian.
oh wow.
Terus dia doa, Tuhan kalau emang udah waktunya, bawa dia 5 minutes.
5 minutes
5
prayer.
minutes, 5 minutes later, udah
Oh, wow.
pergi.
Talk about speedy answer. That's too speedy. Gak ada speed
So,
limit itu.
iya, is it a bad thing? Tapi nyatanya dia doa dan minta
Yeah.
dan dijawab. So like when going back to your first question that kicked off the podcast, how do I find faith? Well, if my patients can keep going, so can I.
That's
Gitu.
good.
And their families too.
Yeah, that's good.
Ya kan, orang yang menderita aja, mereka aja abis sure pas pertama dapat, that's when all the questions come gitu, dok kenapa dok,
Yeah.
what can I do, why am I sick? Tapi I see them 1 week later, next appointment gitu in clinics or next time they come in, terus abis itu they say yeah I'll keep going, I'm alright except for this. They're strong. We say why do bad things happen to good people, tapi a lot of these good people and the bad things happen to them and they keep going, yaitu they take something from that.
What matters is how you handle those
Yeah.
bad things.
Yeah, I agree. I think ini juga salah satu argument a lot of agnostics, ateis, dan orang-orang yang percaya adanya Tuhan tapi nggak percaya kalau Tuhan itu baik. Yaitu adalah kayak why do bad things happen to good people? Tapi buat orang-orang ateis yang pakai argumen itu, they first have to realize then there is a good and there is a God dong kalau gitu kan ya. The only way for us to know what is good is if there's evil. Bener nggak? There has to be like a standard that is beyond us. The only way for you to know there is a crooked line, there has to be a straight line. And the only way for us to inherently in our hearts of hearts know that murder is wrong, terus rape is wrong, killing babies is wrong, is because inherently in our hearts Tuhan udah taruh that moral values. Bener nggak, Zach? Right? Universally, there should be that moral standard, right? And waktu orang-orang bilang why do bad things happen to good people, berarti mereka inherently mau God, if you are good then you have to punish evil, bener nggak? Right? The problem is if God actually let's say that God does that, right? Let's say that God does that. What makes you think that you bukan orang pertama yang Tuhan bakal judge? Ngerti nggak?
That's true.
right?
True.
Ya dong.
Yeah.
Kayak berarti you put yourself beyond I'm not evil, I'm good. Tapi what makes you think that you are actually good? Karena by God's standard, to your point, tadi adalah perfection, kekudusan. Kekudusan itu adalah berarti kayak kalau misalnya main bola, gak ada tuh yang namanya tuh 99.99999% onside. Kalau misalnya you 99.99999 onside, you offside. Benar nggak? Kalau misalnya di bola ya kan ya. And standarnya itu adalah standar kekudusannya Tuhan. And tapi juga kayak gini kan ya. Yang susahnya adalah kalau gitu bayi gimana? Kalau orang-orang yang kayak smoking, cancer segala macam, terus ya udahlah itu ada cause and effect-nya, right? Tapi what about people who are being, for example, ini bakal di ban sama YouTube sini kayaknya karena ada kata-kata itu. What about babies who were being killed, ya kan ya? That's like the one of the toughest questions that we could face as Christians nggak sih, kayak. And sebenarnya yang mereka mau tahu adalah kayak why did that happen to me? Kayak yang tadi kamu bilang, kamu mau cari tahu kenapa, kamu harus cari meaningnya kan ya. Tapi kadang aku ngerasa ya, kalau the Bible bilang He will supply all of your needs according to His riches, benar nggak? Right? So kalau misalnya Tuhan nggak supply, berarti we don't need it to move forward. Do you know what I mean? So kalau misalnya Tuhan nggak supply, berarti kalau Tuhan nggak supply, berarti we don't need it. Tapi kalau Tuhan supply, berarti karena Tuhan tahu kita butuh itu. And kadang yang aku ngerasa ya, kalau misalnya pun Tuhan kasih tahu aku alasan kenapa semua ini terjadi buat aku nggak bakal puas. Aku bakal kayak, nggak ada cara lain apa Tuhan? Nggak bisa apa cara lain, right? Karena we always wanna find like, aduh ya,
I want it that way.
I want it
my way.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right? So I feel like kadang the lack of closure is for our own benefit, aku ngerasanya.
Yeah.
You know, and kalau kayak papi kamu PK, right? Tadi aku bilang gimana caranya kita reconcile yang the babies and the things and the that and kayak gitu, kayak itu susah nggak sih, Sak? Have you ever had that discussion with your dad?
Susah.
Right? Kayak kamu ya lah ini orang blood testnya parah banget segala macam. Okay, how do you? Susah banget loh reconcile itu. And sometimes ya aku ngerasanya ya, kalau misalnya counseling sama orang, they don't need philosophical answer. They don't need a philosopher, they need a pastor and a counselor to talk to them about it. Karena kalau you ngomongnya di sini, ya kita semua ngerti lah kira-kira kenapa ini semua terjadi. Tapi nggak sinkron antara hati sama pikirannya.
Waktu itu, ini pas aku belum lama di Melbourne, which is 10 tahun lalu, 2014 pokoknya. Itu Air Asia X3557 kalau nggak salah lah, Surabaya Singapura. Itu happens to be kebetulan banyak congregation mega church yang naik pesawat itu, a certain church. Itu parah banget. Papaku diminta datang ke crisis centernya. Itu the next one he had to go.
So just making sure. Ini berarti pesawatnya
crash.
Yeah. Oke, cool.
Itu parah banget karena ada satu konselor yang try to comfort someone, being kind out of the goodness of their heart. Lagi nangis-nangis, keluarganya mati semua. Tapi dia keluar kata-kata ini, "Bu, nggak apa-apa Bu, Tuhan baik." Facepalm. Tuhan baik. Tuhan baik.
Aku kesel kan.
Someone just lost their entire family and you say Tuhan baik.
Yeah.
Bokap gue juga geleng-geleng kepala, man. Dia kayak, oh my god, how do I fix this? Nggak bisa lah, kalau kayak gitu udah nggak masuk otak. Which bisa dimengerti lah. I mean adalah jawaban otak-otaknya tuh adalah kita ngomongin ya surga neraka, kita ngomongin ini dan itu, kita ngomongin we can go everywhere and talk about all of that. Tapi in the moment and with these hard questions yang aku yakin everyone, mungkin bagi yang belum semoga nggak akan pernah, tapi aku rasa banyak orang di hidup, you will go through tough times and you will ask the questions. During those moments tuh nggak bisa lah. You can't answer. There is no answer for that.
Yes.
Kecuali mungkin satu, which is what my dad did, and somewhat thankfully adalah my dad bilang aku juga pernah kehilangan anak. Which my dad took 7 years, and me and Nathan baru dia bisa go through it. Jadi kokoku tuh meninggal sebelum aku lahir, beda kira-kira setahun sakitnya. And ya udah, my dad nggak ngomong Tuhan, nggak ngomong apa, nggak pakai ayat, nggak pakai ini, nggak pakai itu, dia cuma ngomong saya ngerti bu, karena saya pernah kehilangan anak satu. Nah ibunya ngomong oke pak, tapi saya kehilangan keluarga semua sekaligus.
Itu kayak
Terus
Job.
Papaku ngomong dulu itu anak satu-satunya juga, jadi saya juga kehilangan semua. Saya bisa rasakan. It's and kayak gitu tuh nggak bisa masuk otak. And you're not looking for answers. Orang yang nanya gitu, the same with my patients and with everyone. Mereka nanya why. Sebenarnya mereka bukan nyari jawaban sih menurutku ya. And same like us, it's more of a pain reaction. We think it will ease our pain. We're looking for healing. Bukannya kayak ya mungkin kalau kita ngerti dan ada jawaban, mungkin kita sedikit terbantu, kita sedikit bisa lebih nerima. Tapi what if we don't like the answer?
Yes.
What if the answer to the why itu kita nggak bisa terima, kita malah tambah marah. There's no point talking when you're ini juga practical relationship advice, which is ya kalau lagi berantem nggak usah jangan di ini jangan masuk otak, jangan dipikirin, jangan dibawa-bawa. Kalau lagi berantem typically kita nih ya makan atau enggak tidur. Karena biasanya kurang makan kurang tidur. Trigger paling sering berantem.
Kayak Elia.
Kunci kehidupan tuh cuma makan dan tidur sebenarnya.
Which is ya itu when you're suffering ya actually get some rest. Have a good meal. Kayak it's not so much the
I mean, theologically speaking, Tuhan bilang give us your daily bread, makanan. Terus dia bilang come to me all of you who are weary and heavy burden, I will give you rest. Right, so makanan
dan istirahat atau tidur.
Right. The first thing yang Tuhan lakuin waktu dia lagi mau nge-support Elijah yang dia lagi depresi dan dia bunuh diri adalah dikasih makan dan disuruh tidur. Terus dikasih makan lagi untuk supaya dia jalan lagi. Right. Sometimes that's the only way that we can do it. I think to your point, Zach, yes, ini kecenderungan kesalahan banyak orang juga di mana sometimes buat orang-orang yang lagi grieving, they don't need you to give this plagues and platitudes of kayak Roma 8:28, Jeremia 29:11. Shut up, I know all those verses, right? And what they need adalah the presence of your presence. Di situ, di mana Tuhan ngajarin kita untuk weep with those who are weeping, right? And tapi nggak usah dikasih kayak and joy comes in the morning, nggak usah dikasih kayak gitu-gitunya juga, right? And I think one of our issues, especially kalau misalnya ini pastors and orang-orang yang tahu teologi, we lead from our theology instead of our humanity, right? We try to spiritualize everything, while at the moment it's not what they need. Inilah kenapa the best example of this adalah Jesus Christ himself. Waktu Martha sama Mary lagi sedih karena Lazarus mati, he did not preach to them. The only thing that he did waktu ngelihat betapa sakit hatinya Martha dan Mary karena Lazarus mati adalah he wept with them. The presence of his presence di sana. Grief with them, ya kan? Not leading with his theology, tapi leading with his humanity. You're gonna say something.
Ya, kau tahu kok.
Tahu. Bisa aku lihat dari muka kamu.
Ini yang aku suka. Aku tuh sempet dulu ya masih sekolah SMP atau SMA gitu. Aku tuh sempet kepahitan sama orang gereja. Bukan secara orang yang spesifik atau pendeta spesifik gimana. Tapi aku kepahitan sama orang gereja in general. Kayak mereka tuh jago teologinya, tapi mereka nggak berempati. Pada dengar nggak? Mungkin kalian semua juga sering dengar ya kalau orang depresi, lagi sedih atau pengen bunuh diri segala macam. Saran orang gereja apa? Mungkin kalian kurang iman.
Oh, oh.
Mungkin kamu kurang doa.
Iya.
Mungkin
Kurang
Ada
doa.
dosa.
ini, mungkin itu.
Iya benar.
Semua orang yang depresi itu suatu penyakit jiwa yang nggak bisa dijelaskan secara fisik ya.
Iya.
Jadi orang-orang tuh sering mikirnya, terutama orang zaman dulu ya yang belum benar-benar aware sama mental health. Mereka mikirnya kurang iman, kurang doa. Tapi mereka nggak mencoba berempati atau mencoba mengerti keadaan atau grief yang mungkin yang dirasakan orang tersebut gitu. Mungkin orang tersebut udah rajin doa, rajin ke gereja, rajin segala macam. Mungkin teologinya lebih jago daripada orang yang memberi saran ini. Tapi ketika mereka mencari pertolongan, dijawabnya seperti itu. Ini aku ada cerita yang cukup panjang sih.
We got time.
Yakin kok?
Yes.
Kok ya saya kayak
Yes, lihat jam dulu. Oh yes,
Yeah.
benar. Iya, benar.
I was a victim of childhood bullying
Oke.
and now I am a survivor.
Ih, shut up.
Jadi aku cerita pengalamanku sendiri
Iya.
aja kali ya. Aku mulai sejak kelas SD kelas 1, aku mulai dibully itu karena dahi aku lebar. Ini mungkin kalian juga ada yang pernah notice kenapa Sandi nggak pernah buka poni. Sampai sekarang pun aku masih struggle sama itu. Jadi mulai dari kelas SD 1 itu kayak kata-kata hinaan seperti kepala peang, kepala alien, terus pokoknya segala macam kata-kata menyakitkan itu udah kayak jadi makanan aku sehari-hari. Pernah juga, dan itu bukan cuma verbal bullying, itu juga ada sewaktu di mana dulu kan pas SD mata pelajaran olahraga itu kan seminggu sekali kan. Nah itu kalau lagi main bola aku sering diusir sama anak-anak seumuran aku yang sekelas gitu. Aku diusir dengan alasan, ih Jeda Tesani bikin silau, bikin kita mengganggu kita untuk main bola.
Mean girls banget sumpah.
Pernah juga aku di pushed to the ground karena mereka mau ngusir aku kan. Mereka mau bikin aku nggak bisa main bola.
Wow.
Dengan alasan jidat aku bikin mata mereka silau. Dan itu terjadi nggak cuma sekali 2 kali. Aku nggak tahu ya waktu itu saat itu mungkin guru lagi sibuk ngapain atau apa. Aku nggak tahu mereka ada yang lihat atau apa. Tapi yang jelas saat itu nggak ada seorang pun yang nolong aku. Dan itu terjadi my whole childhood.
That must have been hard.
Yes, it was. Dan keadaan lingkungan dan psikososial itu kan mempengaruhi akademik banget kan. Jadi ya pada saat itu ya aku termasuk anak yang rankingnya paling bawah. Dan jadi bullyingnya itu bukan cuman hinaan secara fisik doang. Aku juga dihina, Sani bego, bodoh, segala macam pokoknya itu it was so bad. It was so bad. Dan akhirnya tiap kali ambil rapot kan dulu kan rapot itu kan diambil pakai lagi sama orang tua kan. Nah biasanya anak-anak yang nilainya bermasalah kan orang tuanya dipanggil. Nah aku udah dibully di lingkungan, ditambah lagi tiap kali ambil rapot ya orang tua aku kecewa dan aku bisa mengerti kenapa mereka kecewa gitu. Ya udah mereka sering marahin aku karena nilai aku jelek segala macam gitu. Terus karena setiap hari seperti itu, aku ada bukan suatu periode sih. Aku tiap kali mau masuk sekolah tuh aku rasanya cemas banget. Kayak aduh hari ini aku diapain nih nanti. Aku hari ini diapain nanti. Jadi my whole childhood itu aku spend dalam survival mode.
Yeah.
Jadi begitu. Jadi terus itu selama SD kayak gitu ya. Terus selama SMP, kan aku pindah sekolah pas SMP ya. Itu udah mulai berkurang. Jadi oke lah, mereda lah. Tapi masih ada juga yang kadang-kadang ngatain komenin fisik aku gitu. Nah terus sejak pas SMP itu aku mulai bisa berpikir kritis kan. Aku mulai mempertanyakan kenapa kenapa harus aku? Kenapa orang-orang kayak gini ke aku? Terus aku tanya ke mamaku. Aku nggak menyalahkan mamaku ya. Mungkin waktu itu at that time maybe she wasn't thinking. Mungkin cuma ngejawab nyerocos saja sembarang gitu. Tapi aku pernah nanya ke mamaku, kenapa sih Sani diginiin gitu. Terus mamaku jawab, mungkin kamu ada dosa yang belum diselesaikan sama Tuhan. Itu di titik aku merasa
Yohanes 9. Ada tuh yang kayak gitu di Yohanes 9.
Iya.
Ya, terus
di titik itu aku merasa oh Tuhan tuh berarti jahat banget ya. Kayak anak SD sedosa-dosanya itu dosa apa sih? dosa anak SD itu dosa-dosanya dosa apa sih? Sampai Tuhan kok sejahat itu? Kok Tuhan biarin ini ke aku gitu? Terus mulai saat itu aku tuh mulai terbentuk di mindset aku, oke, aku nggak cantik, aku nggak orang tuaku juga ekonominya biasa-biasa aja, dan kalau nggak ada guru, nggak ada teman, nggak ada orang tua, even Tuhan sekalipun nggak membela atau menolong aku, cuman aku yang bisa nolong diri aku sendiri. Terus aku mulai di situ, mulai SMA tuh aku berpikir gimana caranya aku bisa terlihat pintar, bisa terlihat punya power. Jadi dokter. Itu motivasi terbesar aku untuk jadi dokter saat itu. Even aku nggak suka jadi dokter. Makanya saat ini aku nggak praktekkan walaupun aku punya gelar dokter. Nah, masuk ke dokteran, masuk koas. Koas stase pertama tuh baru masuk kan. Apakah saat itu aku udah merasa secure? Enggak. Enggak. Cobaan datang lagi. Ini kalau aku cerita apa yang terjadi saat aku koas, ini podcastnya bisa 3 jam. Jadi intinya adalah suatu kejadian yang nggak bisa aku buka di sini. Di stase pertama itu waktu itu stase bedah, yang membuat aku depresi. Aku tuh pernah punya pikiran kayak gini, ngelihat pasien ICU ya, pasang ventilator.
Sorry, ventilator tuh apa?
Ventilator tuh yang
AC?
yang bukan yang
intubated.
So intubated.
Jadi mereka nggak napas. Jadi ada selang masuk ke dalam paru-parunya langsung. Jadi mereka nggak sadaran. Napasnya napas buatan.
Iya, jadi pasien itu koma kan, tidur. Aku sering mikir sambil jaga malam waktu itu saat koas. Aduh, enak ya jadi pasien.
Wow.
Bisa tidur. Coba kalau aku kayak gitu dan nggak bangun lagi. Aku depresi saat itu dan aku akhirnya waktu itu memutuskan untuk cuti 3 minggu pertama terus aku cuti kan, sambil cuti pokoknya aku depresi banget. Itu it was so bad. I was in a really dark place, like literally dark, because saat itu aku cuma bisa ngurung diri di rumah, matiin lampu.
Wow.
Terus tiba-tiba apa yang nampar aku adalah ketika teman aku ada yang telepon nanyain kabar aku. Padahal dia nggak deket-deket banget sama aku. Aku cuma sering hang out bareng dia karena satu circle gede sama dia. Dia nanya aku, Sani gimana kabarnya? Dia mau catch up gitu. Terus udah aku ceritain aku kenapa. Terus dia bilang gini, boleh nggak aku doain kamu?
Wow.
Terus dia bilang, aku tiba-tiba kepikiran kamu. Soalnya dia punya semacam, ini percaya nggak percaya ya, dia punya semacam karunia, kayak kadang-kadang di hati dia tuh ditanamin nama-nama orang yang dia perlu doain.
Wow.
Dan saat itu kebetulan ada namaku.
Wow. Okay.
Jadi ya udah saat itu dia doain aku nangis, dia juga ikutan nangis. Terus,
over the phone?
Over the phone, iya, over the phone. Jadi saat itu aku kayak tertampar banget. Aku kayak disadarkan bahwa mindset aku yang dulu, yang aku mikir bahwa even guru, teman, orang tua, even Tuhan sekalipun gak ada yang bisa nolong aku, cuman aku yang bisa nolong diri aku sendiri, itu adalah bentuk kesombongan.
Wow.
Itu aku ditampar banget. Terus aku jadi kayak waktu itu aku inget Ada satu ayat yang bunyinya kayak gini ya. Sekalipun aku mempunyai karunia untuk bernubuat, terus apa lagi ya Kodin ya?
Ya itu
Iya.
1 Korintus 13. Ya,
Ayat 2.
but I do not have
Iya.
love, ya kan?
Iya, but
Yeah.
if I do not have love,
Yeah, go on.
aku sama sekali nggak berguna.
Yeah.
Intinya gitu lah. Pokoknya ada ayatnya.
Yeah, let me find the address. Keep on talking.
Yap.
Oh, found it. If
Yeah.
I speak in the tongues of men or angels but do not have love, I'm only a resounding gong or clanging cymbals. Cuma berisik basically kita. Ya, terus.
Iya. Jadi ya gitu. Saat itu teman aku yang telepon aku, dia belum mulai koas. Jadi dia agak kehambat karena skripsi dia belum selesai. Jadi untuk masuk koas itu mesti lulus sarjana kedokteran dulu, lewat skripsi dulu kan. Dia bisa dibilang semi junior aku. Tapi dia punya kasih. Dan itu yang malah yang membuat aku bangkit kembali.
Wow. Wow.
Dan aku sampai sekarang jujur aku masih struggle jujur. Aku belum secure. Aku masih punya insecurity aku.
Yep.
Karena because I grew up with it.
Yeah.
My whole childhood
Yeah.
I spent it on survival mode.
Yes.
Jadi kayak gimana ya? Aku jadi tumbuh menjadi orang yang nggak bisa menerima pujian.
Right.
Kayak misalnya kita belajar ya bumi itu bulat. Tiba-tiba ada orang yang bilang bumi itu segitiga. Kamu percaya nggak?
Enggak.
Kayak gitu. Sesulit itu.
Wow.
Tapi ya aku berusaha belajar kalau ada kasih yang cuma-cuma.
Yeah.
Dan aku juga berusaha kalau identitas aku nggak di-define by what other people say or think about me, tapi karena Tuhan.
Yeah. Wow.
Gitu. Jadi that's what I meant by tadi aku bilang bad things happen ya happen aja gitu, nggak perlu ada alasan. Kita mau nyari alasan sampai gimana pun ya mungkin kita nggak akan puas, tapi gimana cara kita menghandle ketika bad things itu emang terjadi. Apakah aku mau melanjutkan cycle bullying itu dengan membuli orang lain, atau
Yeah.
aku memutuskan untuk cycle itu berhenti di aku aja.
Shata.
Gitu.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing the gift of your vulnerability. It is such a privilege untuk bisa. It is an honor. It is a gift because you didn't have to do it, but the fact that you shared it, I believe that it's gonna be empowering for other people who went through similar things yang kamu lakuin juga, yang kamu laluin juga. And I think dari cerita kamu we could see how God is moving even though we did not see it, right?
True. Yeah.
You're like stuck in your dark room and yet God is talking to, istilah kamu stuck kayak bangsa Israel in your
Yeah.
Egypt, and yet God is talking to the Moses untuk bisa bawa kamu keluar
Iya, betul.
dari sana, right? And the fact that kamu bilang you're still dealing with that insecurity, and like aren't we all, right? Kita semua juga deal with some sort of like our own personal insecurities, and the fact that you bring it up to the light literally, right? I believe God will heal what you have revealed. Karena kalau misalnya kita nggak bisa name what the issue is, we can't tame it. If we can't tame what we can't name, right? And thank you for sharing that. Would you be able to share ke kita gimana caranya be there for the people who have gone through what you have gone through, and gimana caranya bisa be there for people yang lagi are going through a season or a cycle of depression?
Pertama-tama jangan jadikan agama Kristen atau nama Tuhan Yesus menjadi batu sandungan. Jangan pernah menyarankan ke orang yang lagi depresi kalau mereka kurang doa atau kurang iman atau kurang baca Alkitab. Dude, mereka mungkin lebih jago secara teologi daripada kalian gitu. Mungkin mereka udah menjalankan segala-galanya. Mungkin mereka udah doa semalam suntuk. Tapi kalau kalian nggak pernah mengalaminya, jangan ngejudge gitu. Jangan ngejudge. Terus kayak kalau ngomong sama orang, kayak ngasih saran atau even cuman bertanya sekalipun, mungkin dipikir dulu. Dipikir apakah itu menunjukkan kasih atau apakah itu baik untuk mental orang lawan bicaramu, atau pokoknya kalau if you don't have something nice to say, just don't say anything at all. Yeah.
And the way Bible puts it adalah with grace and truth. Kebenaran dan kasih. Kalau kata Pastor Chris Hodges, I have used this so many times. Grace without truth is meaningless. Truth without grace is mean. Tapi grace and truth itu Edison. Udah.
Apalagi?
Kalau aku boleh add di Ayub ya, itu 3 temennya tuh datengin dia. Mereka nggak ngomong apa-apa. Mereka tuh duduk nangis sama dia 3 hari, 3 malam. Duduk nangis sama dia. And this is going back again to your first question. Koden nanya, kok kamu ngeliat hal-hal buruk? Kok kamu can keep going on? It implies that I too feel sad, ya nggak? Aku juga kena. Instead of aku sedih, aku bersedih sama mereka yang lagi sedih. Maksudnya kita manusia lah. Aku percaya kita semua either pernah mengalami hal buruk sendiri, kita sendiri. So we can draw on that. Kita udah pernah ngalamin, kita ngerti. Jadi orang lain ngalamin, kita lihat dan kita bisa ngerti. Dulu aku ingat aku juga pas aku ngalamin ini, wah berat banget. Aku waktu itu gimana ya kira-kira perasaanku. And you can use that to help others. Atau ya bagi yang belum mengalami, well hopefully not again. Tapi aku rasa semua orang akan mengalami tough times.
Yang belum mengalami, live long enough.
Yeah. Live long enough.
Iya.
Tapi ya itu, especially if you know them, I think it's just there's a basic human part of you yang pasti kita care buat mereka lah. Kan maksudnya kita kenal, konteksnya kita kenal mereka. Ya, berarti mereka teman kamu dong, atau mungkin pacar kamu, atau keluarga, atau someone. If something bad happens to them, kalian juga ikut sedih. So you join them. What you're feeling is a part of what they're feeling. Jadi kalian bersatu gitu, unite. You are on their side. Jadi mereka merasa, oke, aku nggak sendiri, aku ada teman. Which ya tanya aja mereka mau apa yang lagi sedih itu. How can I help you? Gitu. Then you say, that's fine. That's fine. Let me know when you know I'm here. You be available for them. Tapi ya part of it, makanya papaku tuh sering banget dari aku kecil ngajak aku kemana-mana kalau dia pelayanan, which is ya khotbah di gereja lain apa semua. Yang dia jarang ajak aku, ada tapi jarang, itu ke nikahan orang.
Oh, interesting. Why?
Why would you go to nikahan? Nikahan is all the same.
Seneng-seneng.
Orang happy-happy, seneng-seneng, makan-makan, minum-minum, happy-happy.
Tapi mantannya pasangannya nggak seneng kali ya, Sak, mungkin, Sak.
Ya.
Do you object?
Jangan
Yes.
Jangan diundang dong. Common sense please, jangan diundang. He took me to a lot of funerals.
Wow.
Yeah. And no matter who it, dan aku nggak kenal orangnya.
Wow.
Ya dong, aku nggak kenal. Mereka randomly invite papaku misalnya buat sermon atau apa, nggak kenal. And they all say the same thing. Thank you for coming. I don't know who you are. I don't know who died. I have never. This is the first time I'm meeting you di rumah pemakaman. And they say thank you for coming. Terus papaku tiap nyetir pulang selalu bilang, kita jangan banyak ke pernikahan, kita banyak ke pemakaman. We learn more from them. Actually, terus papaku ngomong, kamu kalau digituin, you should be thankful to them. Mereka yang bilang thank you for coming ke kamu. Kamu yang harusnya thankful loh. Kamu datang ke sini, kamu dapat apa? That's his favorite question to me. What did you get from this? Aku bilang, bersyukur papa mama masih hidup. Bersyukur aku masih hidup. Like, iya dong.
Bener lagi.
Aku kerja di chemo unit, ya itu ya susah ya, bleak, depressing, sad. Like you said, how do you keep going? Well, thank goodness. Aku tiap gitu fills me with a sense of gratitude. Karena I don't have cancer.
Hmm.
No matter how bad it got, I was always like, I don't have cancer. Tiap kali sibuk gitu, terus misalnya nursesnya butuh sesuatu dari aku, tapi aku lagi ngurusin something else, apa ke delay, aku lari-lari terus kepo-kepo itu, terus kayak mereka tuh being very good professionals, they often ask, Isaac, you seem a bit stressed, like there's a lot going on, can we do anything to help apa? I said, you can see that I'm still walking on my own 2 feet. That's a blessing. Udah, I'm very good. The concern is always for the patients, karena they're the sick ones. And amazingly, ini aku heran bisa terjadi. Jujur, aku kagum sekali. There would be times dimana pasiennya bilang, oh I'm okay. Padahal kayak, no, you're very sick. You're the sickest patient we have. Tapi mereka kadang ngomong, no, I'm fine. Mereka bisa kuat gitu.
How?
Itu how? Yang di ranjang sebelah. Itu kayaknya lebih sakit. Yeah, man. Like that.
And what they're doing is not diminishing the other's pain, right?
Enggak.
It gives them.
No, they're acknowledging. They're saying
Yes.
they're in more pain than I am.
Yes.
So the pain I'm feeling is
Yeah.
compared to that,
Yeah.
itu not that big.
Instead of focusing what they do, what they don't have, they focus on what they do have, basically, right? And ini we as Christians, we struggle so much with this. I think kayak kita either we're either sad or we're either happy. Kita nggak bisa hold both things at the same time. Sedangkan kayaknya I feel like apa yang orang lain itu, apa yang your patient lakuin dan apa yang you lakuin adalah I'm sad for them, and at the same time I'm grateful for what I have. And we suck at that. Kayak aku ngerasanya we cannot hold both tensions as Christians.
Yeah, when you see someone else going through a hard time, you can be sad for them karena you know what it feels like, or you share in their grief because you know them. Terus you're there for them gitu loh. Ya sekali lagi itu going back to di saat orang-orang nanya, why is this bad thing happening to good people? Why is this bad thing happening to me? Sekali lagi, what is the actual meaning behind the question? You should ask not why are you asking the question? Is it because you want an answer or do you need help? Kebanyakan orang ya itu butuh bantuan sebenarnya. There is always a theoretical answer.
Yeah.
Tapi I feel like as orang Kristen, our role adalah untuk ngebantuin. Jangan cuma nanya-nanya doang yang kayak Koden ngomong philosophical, theological kemana-mana. Itu ngambang semua, nggak ada impactnya. Impactnya adalah let's do something about it.
Yeah.
Why do bad things happen to good people? The answer is maybe we the good people are not stepping in enough to help the other good people to deal with the bad thing. Siapa tahu kalau kita bantu, it helps them too.
Helps them to walk it out.
Yeah.
As best as they can.
Ya udah terjadi.
Yeah. And I also feel like kadang we don't need to pertama spiritualize and explain everything ke mereka. They always in the middle of your trials, in the middle of your tribulations, you're asking the why does this happen to me, blah 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 segala macam. And the worst thing that we could do at that moment adalah try to give them a reason why. Yeah, I think the best we can do adalah bilang I don't know.
Betul.
I don't know why it happened to you. I wish it did not happen to you, but I don't know. I'm not God, right?
And maybe I don't know, but I'm here.
I'm here.
For
I don't
you.
know, but I'm here.
Yeah,
Exactly.
just be there for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kayak teman aku yang tiba-tiba telepon tengah malam. Even it's only over the phone.
Yeah.
Tapi pada saat itu aku setidaknya nggak feel alone.
Yeah.
Mungkin kalau nggak ada telepon teman aku pas saat itu, mungkin di sini aku nggak ada.
Yeah.
Mungkin aku udah nggak ada di sini.
That one phone call saved your life, possibly.
Yep, like literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So be obedient kalau misalnya ada Tuhan taruh satu nama di hati
Betul.
kita,
Yeah.
right? And you might be the voice that they needed at that moment, right? Wow. Do you have an experience like Sunny, Zach, di mana kayak you are asking kayak why did this happen to me?
Aku not
If you
so
don't
much.
mind if you don't mind sharing, that is.
Aku not so much why did this happen to me. Aku berkali-kali ya and this is obviously ya in apa ya, relatif ya. Makanya aku mengalami masa-masa sulit ada beberapa. One of them pas aku dari S1 ke S2, aku bachelor, berarti itu kira-kira tahun 2017 atau 18. Aku lagi mau apply ke med school. Ya, terus ditolak-tolak semua gitu loh. Was going through a rough time waktu itu kan. Ini, I mean, without disclosing many details, waktu itu ya aku very depressed. Ada kepikiran, you know, what if aku nggak ada di sini.
Wow. Yeah.
Itu was pretty bad. Of course ini relatif. Like now I can go back and say like that was nothing. Tapi ya waktu itu akhirnya aku sendiri yang bergumul sama Tuhan. Which aku sendiri yang ngomong kan, oh kalau kamu nggak mau aku jadi dokter, ngomong aja kayak gitu. Nah, kalau lu mau kirim ke Afrika, gue jadi misionaris, kirim aja ke Afrika. Aku terima, tapi aku marah-marah sama Tuhan gitu kan. Yeah. Which is what a lot of people would do.
Like Job did.
Iya. Yeah. Udah lu mau gue nggak jadi dokter, kirim aja udah ke Afrika, gue jadi misionaris. 1 week later aku diterima di UWA di Perth for medicine. Terus kayak kenapa sih pas harus butuh gua nyerah dulu baru dikasih.
Why do you think that is?
I think kayaknya Tuhan tuh waktu itu ya mau confirm that, you know, this is what I want, not what you want. Which now again udah kerja sebagai dokter, aku realize ini emang tuh yang Tuhan mau aku jadi dokter, bukan aku. Jadi aku kayak sadar gitu.
Tapi sekarang kamu mau nggak? That's the question.
Honestly, sometimes no. Some days udah kayak, aduh males banget. Kayaknya enak ya jadi buka restoran.
He's in this kind of love and hate relationship with his job.
Yeah. But it's just a job, you know. Which at the time, again, young Isaac 2017 tuh nggak tahu dan nggak ngerti. Which is also one of the you know, why bad things happen to good people. To me, maybe it's not such a bad thing if I didn't get into medicine. You know, it's not the end of the world. Jadi relatif banget. Terus satu lagi adalah pas 2022. Ya, benar. 2022 aku fail exams yang sebelum kelulusan. And I do have to preface this in context too, karena aku mau raise awareness juga. Ini kita ntar harus cerita soal kasus yang di Indo.
Ya terus lanjut, silakan, the floor is yours.
Every year di Melu ada satu anak med school bunuh diri.
Oh wow.
Every year. It's
every
like
year?
Clockwork.
Wow.
I've had 3 people. I know them.
Wow.
Mereka bunuh diri. And that's just the statistics and the average. Tapi kayak no, I knew this. I have the Facebook chats with one of them yang udah meninggal, yang bunuh diri. I was in a class with them, and like it's just different when you live it and feel it.
Ini during your uni days?
Yeah.
The person that you knew?
Yeah. Committed suicide, and not just 1, 2.
Okay.
During my 4 years there, yeah, it's actually under average. Karena only 2 in 4 years, 1 in 2 years.
Okay.
It's actually 1 in 1 year, roughly. Yeah, and that's just med school. That's just the stress. Aku juga pernah, ya again, aku fail exam. And at that time udah kacau semua. Karena I had already got a job offer, but I failed my exams. I had visa issues. You know, everything was at stake gini loh. Kayak even if I passed, kayak ada remet lah terakhirnya. Cuman I had to pass it. I had to sort out my visa issues. Aku udah ada job offer, aku udah mikir kayak gila, ini kalau gua nggak lulus, gua hilang setahun. Gua harus ngulang med school. Gua harus visa gua nggak tahu gimana. Mungkin gua bisa ke Indo. Kalaupun bisa stay, gua mesti bayar ulang puluhan ribu dolar. Job offer gua hilang. Pokoknya kayak itu udah blur, soalnya the future was in doubt and in question, and I was like, man, I don't know if I can do this. Di saat itu sampai mamaku datang ke sini buat nemenin aku lama banget. Wah itu kalau nggak ada mamaku aku nggak tahu lagi sih. At that point, and this is juga, this I don't think this church needs this podcast karena waktu itu Koron, Cindy, Dena, semua WA aku, kamu oke nggak? Kok nggak datang gereja? Where are you? Are you okay? Are you okay? And I was like, well, thanks so much guys. Aku examnya fail, aku lagi belajar. Jadi aku mau, aku butuh waktunya buat belajar lah. Jadi aku nggak bisa gereja. Tapi thank you banget nanyain. Very helpful. I had my mom, I had Nathan, membantu banget. Terus ujung-ujungnya lulus, puji Tuhan banget. Kalau nggak tahu lagi sih. Funnily enough, I remember some of the questions on the exam,
PTSD
which applied di clinical practice, tapi nyatanya orang-orang salah juga gitu loh.
Okay.
Maksudnya, if these people working with me took the exam, mungkin mereka jawabnya bener, tapi di kenyataannya fail juga kayak. What's the point? Anyway, ran over, but the point was that I've been on the receiving end of kayak, well, a bad thing, tanda kutip, and again, relative. Some people might say that's not heavy, tapi, like some people...
It's relative,
suicide.
it's heavy to you.
Yeah.
We can't diminish what you're going through.
Yang jadi inget itu yang meninggal salah satu temanku tuh, he committed suicide pas memang exam season juga.
Wow.
Itu, so it's quite heavy. Tapi the point of it was that aku sangat terbantu karena di tengah-tengah itu pas lagi depresi atau lagi melatih langsung susah tuh semuanya kayak abu-abu gitu loh, kayak nggak ada rasanya gitu, kayak numb, you're so numb. Rasanya tuh kayak gitu. But looking back pas all these supports ada sama aku, wah itu actually baru sekarang berasa kayak I'm so loved and so lucky. Tapi pas lagi melewati itu berat banget, nggak berasa. Kayak gitu loh. It was really tough. Just couldn't feel it. Tapi ya thank God lewat gitu loh. Beres semua pelan-pelan. Dan itulah masa-masa dimana kita jadi banyak ngechat. So
that's what you call a ripple effect.
Jadi
a ripple
itu,
effect.
Was it really a bad thing? Karena
Continue. I must say something.
Ya itu aku jadi ketemu Hani dan dekat dan itu dari situ. Jadi kayak
Ini baru Roma 828.
Iya.
Roma 828.
It doesn't feel good for you at the moment, but he works everything for the good.
Yeah.
Right?
Itu dia.
And aku jadi keingetan cerita. Pas kamu bilang itu, itulah kenapa. Pas kamu bilang gitu, kamu bilang during the season dimana kamu ngechat Sani, aku jadi keingetan satu cerita ini dimana there's this talk, this apologist, dia lagi talk in one theater gitu. Terus ada this atheist, dia bilang kayak kenapa Tuhan nggak stop evil apa segala macam gitu kan. Terus ada this one guy stood up, dia bilang kayak my mom was raped multiple times. She had miscarriage time after time. Sorry, let me set this up. Ulang lagi. There's this one woman who was raped multiple times, right? Terus she had miscarriages after miscarriages, and then she finally was pregnant with this one boy. She was thinking about kayak doing abortion segala macam, tapi akhirnya dia bilang aku nggak mau menghukum anak ini for the sins of the father. Mamanya bilang kayak gitu ya kan ya. Ceweknya bilang kayak gitu. Terus akhirnya lahir lah anak ini. Terus anak ini besar. Dia besar. Abis itu dia jadi pastor. Terus jadi pastor, karena dia jadi pastor, dia ngebaptis banyak orang segala macam gitu. Ini diceritain sama satu orang, ya. Terus at the end of the talk dia bilang gini, I am that pastor. Do you know what I mean? So karena the evil that was done to the mother, lahirlah pastor ini yang memberkati di channel, dipakai sama Tuhan untuk memberkati banyak orang. The ripple effect basically, karena it didn't feel good to you contacted Sani jadinya, terus jadi you guys are together now. Sama seperti orang ini, di mana it was evil that was done to the mother, Tapi karena that evil, God brought out this one good thing, di mana Tuhan pakai this one good person, di mana Tuhan pakai this person, this pastor untuk memberkati banyak orang karena he works everything for the good who are called according to his purpose. Right? And before we close this podcast, I feel like kalau gitu we need to like tie a bow in this topic, dimana dari tadi kita awal bahasa adalah kayak why do bad things happen to good people? If God is good, then why evil happen and why there is evil in the world? Well, kalau gitu pertanyaannya adalah terus solusinya Tuhan tuh apa dong? Right, untuk this all bad things, right? Kamu ngomong dulu deh, abis baru aku ngomong.
Well, ini juga aku closing statement aku.
Oke, silakan.
There is a straight, direct answer to why bad things happen to good people. Itu ada one sentence, one liner, and it will answer. Bad things happen to good people because the worst thing ever happened to the perfect man.
That's it. I was gonna say that. Exactly the same
Aku udah
thing.
tahu dia bakal ngomong juga. Kalian, aku jelasin quick rundown deh, karena kita nggak banyak waktu ya. Tapi pernah ada eksperimen, ada study. Mereka tuh bukan nyalibin ya. Ini cuma diikat tangannya sama kakinya ke salib. The guy who was diiniin experiment lasted 7 minutes terus minta turun. Ini nggak dipaku, nggak dicambuk, nggak disuruh angkut salib, cuman diikat doang ke atas salib. 7 menit dia udah nggak kuat. Tensinya udah kayak 200-an systolic, heart rate-nya udah kayak 150-an, vitalsnya all over the place, udah kacau. Udah itu cuman diikat doang. Yesus tuh, man, mereka tuh cambuk dia tuh ya sampai kelihatan tulang-tulangnya loh, tulang rusuknya tuh kelihatan.
Nonton The Passion of the Christ. It was
Punggungnya
it
tuh
did
udah,
not even do it justice.
Punggungnya tuh udah bubur kan. It was nothing. Sampai organ-organnya semua kena. Dalam kondisi gitu disuruh naik nanjak 3 kilo sambil bawa beban 10 kilo lebih barefoot sampai pingsan kan. Ini belum disalibin udah pingsan. If that was a patient of mine, itu udah resusnya udah sambil this kind of hopeless. At that point, belum disalib ya. Ini that he should have been long dead before that actually. Kadang pasienku tuh, I'm in pain. I'm in excruciating pain. X out of cruciate cross. The pain that they feel is like being on the cross. Jadi kadang they answer their own questions. Tapi Yesus tuh ya tiap napas ya, gua napas enak ini sofa apa semua ya. Dia tiap napas tuh kan mesti kayak dadanya naik kan. Itu punggungnya kegesek sama kayu salib, bukan kayak kayu salib gereja, tapi kayu salib yang kayunya
kayu
tuh
yang kasar, yang banyak serat-seratnya.
Kasar. Ya. Kalian kalau pernah pegang apa tuh naik tangga terus ininya kayu ya, terus kadang bisa masuk splinter gitu kan, sakit kan, yang kayak masuk kayu, serat kayu gitu ke sini, itu sakit banget. Ini punggung dia abis dicambuk kayak gitu, tiap napas yang diambil tuh sakit. Dia tuh harus, dia kan nggak ada kursi ya, nggak ada tatakannya tuh kakinya yang dipaku. Dia harus nendang dan melebarkan luka di kakinya, di tulangnya. Man, itu, oh man, that's just like half of it. It's like nothing yet. Itu just the bare details of the horrors of the cross. Yang paling ngenes itu, he's not a criminal. Dia bilang apa? Let this cup pass before me. Dia minum bukan cuman air campur Detol. Dia minum dosa-dosa kita, racun. Dia minum buat kita. He didn't even want to. He chose to. Karena dia sayang banget sama kita, man.
I was looking for like the medical condition, namanya waktu Yesus mati. There's this thing, aku lupa nama medical conditionnya apa. Kenapa waktu Tuhan Yesus di
Pericardial effusion.
Dia gue bentar. Waktu Tuhan Yesus ditusuk. Coba bilang lagi.
Pericardial
That
effusion.
sounds so sexy. Ya, terus waktu ditusuk keluarlah blood and water. Itu salah satu medical conditionnya itu. And not the pretty word. Dia literally mati karena heartbreak.
Oh, takut subuh syndrome, tapi yeah. Yes.
Basically heartbreak. His heart kayak exploded, makanya ada keluar air dan darah. Basically, he was he was heartbroken by our sins, tapi kayak yang tadi si Isaac bilang, the solution to evil adalah evil was put on Jesus himself, the only one good person yang bisa ilangin ini semua. And we just have to believe and have faith in the fact that in the fullness of time, Tuhan bakal judge everyone and everything according to his good and holy standard. In the meantime, have faith. Have faith in the meantime.
Kita hidup nggak lama guys, 80 tahun, 100 tahun max, 120 lah tawar. But then after that is eternity.
Yes.
Dimana the bad people, tanda kutip ya,
Mhm.
itu mereka akan menderita di neraka. Jadi kita nggak usah kayak marah-marah sama when we know bad people get away with things. Don't worry. Justice will come.
Yeah.
Akan datang kok. But we don't have to be afraid karena we've been redeemed and
Yes.
justified gitu loh. Maksudnya kita juga orang bersalah, kita harusnya masuk neraka,
Yeah.
mati di kayu salib.
Yeah.
Tapi kita bisa look forward to surga, to heaven.
Absolutely.
So
True.
yes, bad things, but on this earth
Yeah.
there will be a time when there are no bad things
Yeah.
anymore.
No more tears.
No more tears, no more weeping, no, more sorrow,
weeping, yeah.
no more sickness.
Exactly. So I hope that gives you guys comfort untuk kayak go through this season of pain, this season of heartbreak, di mana God sees you and that Tuhan taruh all these tears that you have kayak running down your cheeks into this little bottle, and he actually saves it and he counts it and he actually sees you and he's in the middle of your cries. Semua tears yang jatuh di kamu punya bantal yang udah jadi bercaknya sekarang, he sees that. He sees that. And he loves you and we love you. You're not alone and you're loved. God bless you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.